Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks this day for this community in transition. But your communities are always in transition. Almost no one stands still in the Bible. They're always moving, sometimes to get away from danger, sometimes to respond to your call to help others, sometimes to go to a quiet place so that they might hear your voice more clearly, and sometimes because it's just good to be on the move sometimes, opening yourself to new possibilities. In our own lives, we frequently find ourselves at one of those places, and in the lives of congregations as well, and among clergy and lay people alike. This is a season of change. We ask that your hand may be upon all those who experience anxiety or disruption in these days, but that your Spirit might be in them so that the new opportunities and the new possibilities might be as real as any fears or worries. For those whom we have mentioned now aloud before you and one another, we ask your special presence in these days, that you might be for them what they need, and that by hearing others speak of what's in their hearts, we might reach out to them, even in this hour, even on this day. Now in the silence, O God, we lift before you those things in our hearts, too private and too personal, yet to name aloud, but which are there, weighing us down, making us less than you intended us to be. Be present with us now as we lift before you in our hearts our deepest hurts and our highest hopes. We ask all of these things in Jesus' name, who taught us to pray in this way. Our Father, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Let us now offer our gifts for the work of God's church. the bulletin. Gracious and loving God, grounded in your word, nurtured by your community, empowered by your spirit, with gratitude we come before you. May we give more and more of ourselves to more and more of Jesus' project for our world. Amen. Please be seated. On the night he sat with his friends and broke bread with them, I can only imagine that Jesus was wondering whether this group of 12 was the right 12. But now it was a little late to think again. He had to trust that the people who had heard his voice responded to his call, regardless of their strengths and their flaws, their quirks, and their earnestness in following him. He must have wondered whether this was the right group. And they, on their hand, must have wondered whether they were the right group as well, not knowing exactly what was to transpire. Around the table, there must have been doubt and second-guessing and wonderment on their part as well. What he did with them that night, he does with us again this day. Says that his confidence is well placed in us, so long as he gives us the strength and the resources and the spirit to respond. And one way he does that is to remind them that every time they break bread with one another, they are to remember that this is his body which is broken for them. He hasn't shown them that love out of his back pocket. It hasn't been in his spare time. It has been his whole self given to them. And in the bread they ate and in the bread we eat, we remember his body broken for us. He also reminds them that the cup they share and the cup we share is not just any cup. It is his blood shed for us, not done easily, not done happily, but done freely and generously, knowing that in his sacrifice, others might find themselves able to sacrifice for others as well. So he says to them and says to us that in this cup, we find his blood shed for us for the forgiveness of sins, theirs and ours, and for all those who have come to this table over these 2,000 years. The billions and billions and billions of people to whose lives and voices we now join ours. As we come to the table, a reminder that in the United Methodist Church, we practice an open communion. We celebrate with grape juice so that all may feel safe and secure in coming to God's table. But one observation and one reminder, we come on equal footing. No matter who we are or what we do for a living or what we've come from, we come to this table on equal footing with one another and with all those who come to a table like this day. And a reminder, and maybe a word of caution. If this bread and this cup really have the Spirit of Jesus of Nazareth in it, go slow. You may leave this table being able to love people you thought were unlovable. You may leave this table thinking that you now care about people you didn't even know existed. You may leave this table feeling braver than you've felt in a long time. You may leave this table feeling that you can really give yourself fully to others. Go slow. Take a chance. If this bread and this cup have God's Spirit in them, our lives could change in this moment. I invite you to come forward down the center aisle, receive by intinction, and then return to your seats in the side aisles. Come, for all things are now ready. having shared in this holy meal, let us share with one another the peace of Christ. Please remain standing and let's sing our final hymn, number 2108. Friends, go now, hearing the good news and experiencing again in this place that at the heart of the universe, at the very heart of the universe, there is a warm, loving heart that welcomes us back, welcomes us in, and welcomes us home. Now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be and abide with you this day, even forevermore.